Today, we have the great honor to begin our conference on the top of the Reichstag, the building of the German parliament. This building has seen many facets of Germany's history, from the beginning of its first democracy, the so-called Weimarer Republik, until it was taken over by the Nazi regime. Today, on May 23, 2024, government officials are gathering in Berlin to celebrate the 75th anniversary of the German Constitution, which was put in place after Germany's darkest path in history. We are currently facing the world at a crossroads. And today we will hear different perspectives along these crossroads. Just 2 months ago, I witnessed a speech by the former US Democratic presidential candidate Hillary Clinton at the Berlin Film Festival's Cinema for Peace, where she clearly stated that the only way to build a pathway to peace, and she focused on the conflict between Israel and Gaza, is when we choose to gain an understanding for one another with empathy and compassion. This only happens when we meet each other from human to human. Let us together dive into a short film by Bobby Sager so we all understand what being human means.
It's impossible to truly look into someone else's eyes unless we first let them look into ours. Real connection is not about making someone laugh. It's about making someone feel like you care, not as an object to be photographed, but as a flesh and blood human being with dreams, fears, and dignity. The people you're about to meet come from Afghanistan, Syria, Rwanda, Pakistan, Palestine, Sri Lanka, India, and Tibet. They are Tibetan monks, child soldiers, refugees, and victims of war. They live lives of great struggle, but humble places can often produce monumental humanity. I spent much of the last 20 years living in traumatized communities around the world while doing the work of my family foundation. I've worked as an American in Afghanistan, a white person in Rwanda, and a Jew in Palestine. I met the people in this exhibit during those travels. The most transcendent moments have come when I least expected them, from sharing in the joys and frustrations of ordinary people's everyday lives. These photographs were born out of those everyday moments. Our collective pandemic experience makes us realize the critical things that we had grown to take for granted. A hug, breathing, friendship, freedom, travel, and so much more. Sometimes it takes losing something to appreciate how awesome it is. Turns out, the biggest things in life are almost always small. I chose photographs for this exhibit where the person is staring directly back at us. In that eyeball-to-eyeball exchange, I hope you feel both confronted and assured. Yes, the world's screwed up, but before we can really help to fix it, we must first fix ourselves. There is no me and them. It's all us. Whether it is a virus, the environment, or the way we treat one another, hopefully we understand more than ever how radically interconnected we are. After COVID, tribalism, racism, populism, extremism, lying politicians, and us versus them, we need to find our way back to each other and to ourselves. We have a very long road to travel. The people in this exhibition can perhaps be our guides. In the sea of our hurried, distracted lives, how much insight just floats by because we aren't open to where or who it comes from. Thank you to the people whose photographs are here. Even though you're some of the most anonymous people on earth, Looking into your eyes, we are reminded of our common humanity, vulnerability, and collective potential. Maybe their voices help us to hear our own.
Bobby Sager is the co-founder of the YPO Peace Action Network, and he has traveled the world to photograph people from all walks in life, to portray what it means to be human. And it is basically a conversation about our common humanity. Bobby always outlines that we are 97% identical to mountain gorillas. And yet, we make so much out of our small differences. As Bobby cannot be with us today, he has granted me the opportunity to take over his speaking slot and allowed me to share this video and his key messages with you, while I will combine this with a personal story to craft pathways for opportunities that we as YPO leaders have. I remember one day during the pandemic. I was 5 months pregnant with our 4th child, where my forum and I have set up a date for a facilitated forum experience. We invited Amir Kafir, a long-standing, widely renowned YPO forum facilitator from Israel. Amir invited us to share our icebreaker question on the most draining and exciting experiences in our lives. In our reflection of which topic to explore, 2 of my brilliant forum ladies, and one is sitting right over there, the beautiful Carmen, and Amir mirrored back to me that it would be time to look deeper into my most draining life experience for a deeper exploration with a concept called family constellation. My heart was racing and my breathing got faster, and I felt heat building up in my body as I knew that I would have to face one of my deepest fears. Tears began to run down my face and my voice was shaking, and it was hard to barely find an appropriate word when I began to reveal how my grandfather, who came from a long-standing family tradition of outstanding classical musicians, a professor for music living in Berlin and Potsdam, chose to become part of the NSDAP, the Nazi regime, and work under the leadership of Goebbels, the Minister for Propaganda. How could I dare to share a virtual room with Amir Kafir and dare to look into his face after everything that part of my ancestors did and were responsible for? During my upbringing, my grandmother, my father, and my aunts repeatedly affirmed that my grandfather was politically illiterate to keep away the shame of the family. While I learned that my grandfather used his position to get passports for 8 Jewish families that he knew to leave Germany for the United States, my family denied to take further responsibility for that time, be it in reflection or let alone in any kind of healing. My father was born in 1936 and experienced the Second World War throughout his childhood without ever fully healing his trauma of the bombings, the starvation, the fleeing, the dying, the destruction, and the family pain. And with that became a severe alcoholic, addicted to cigarettes, and suffered from bipolar disorders until he died in 2015. Amir checked in with me daily for weeks after our forum to support me by mirroring back that my father tried, in his capacity to heal parts of the family history, by marrying a Turkish woman, my mother, at a time where Turks in Germany were still seen only as second-best guest workers, and making us aware of our Jewish family friends who he tried to keep safe in the 1990s. This forum experience was a transformational moment in my life. It revealed to me how much it means when you vulnerably share parts of your deepest fears and shames within a safe space while being embraced by human beings who deeply listen to you and mirror back to you their emotions, experiences, and allow you to grow and transform. My forum and Amir embraced me with their love and compassion. With this, they allowed me to use this moment as a learning opportunity to not continue the family silence around this shameful history, but to move into responsible action within this world in service to humanity. We have the great opportunity and the privilege to transform into conscious and responsible leaders while the world stands at a crossroads. For that, we as leaders need to look into the mirror and gain a deeper understanding of ourselves and who we truly are. It also means that we understand that the best kind of leadership begins with listening to one another. The late Jimi Hendrix once said, "Knowledge speaks, but wisdom listens." The forum experiences our learning to listen actively and deeply allows us to gain a deep understanding for another human being or an issue. This, in combination with simple things like gratitude and human kindness, equips us to truly become the best possible leaders and makes us effective in crafting and implementing solutions. We have the capacity to create opportunities for personal and collective growth when we create a safe space and allow each other to show up in our full vulnerability to build pathways from me to we. It allows us to learn from our experiences and with that unfold our collective potential and our common humanity. To overcome conflict, separation, and destruction to build peace globally. Things like compassion, gratitude, and recognition of our common humanity are not soft and cuddly cliches. They are strategic and game-changing. Everybody thinks they're good listeners, just like people think they're good dancers, but hardly anybody is. The sad reality of our moment we're living through is that nobody is listening to anybody. I want to invite you all to seize the opportunity to bring hope and peace to this world. While we see the right-wing movements on the rise in Germany and in Europe, leaders are equipped to serve humanity by using our listening capacity to bring more understanding for one another into this world. We have the capacity to choose creating opportunities of building these deep human connections to overcome conflict, separation, and destruction. To choose opportunity over adversity, growth over decline, and love over fear. The guiding question that I would like to leave you with today is, am I willing to truly step into my full leadership capacity by listening deeply from human to human in service to humanity?